Hello and welcome back to the Greek Pyramid. Today is the final video of the 12 Days of Christmas videos. And I'm not sure why I've decided this is the last video for this series, but anyway, we are going to rank the titles of the Riordanverse book series. So my opinion on the book doesn't really come into it, although I'm sure there will be some unintentional bias. It's just based on the title of the book. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So found this tier list for all of the different books. So the tiers are Deserves to be on Olympus, Blue Food Amazing, Generally Like, Could Be Better, and No Thanks. So let's just go through in order of how they're set out, and it starts off with the Heroes of Olympus series with The Lost Hero. Most of these books have two things that make them a good title in my mind. The intrigue and how well it describes the book at the same time. The Lost Hero, I think, has good intrigue. It relates pretty well without just describing the entire book or just stating something within the book. So I think I'm going to start off with a generally like, start off with a middle tier and then we can figure it out later if need be. The Son of Neptune is the second book. Obviously, we all like the return of Percy in the book, but I'm just not feeling the title. Don't feel a huge amount of intrigue there. Title doesn't feel as good as the book does, so I'm going to chuck this in Could Be Better. Mark of Athena relates to the book well with Annabeth's quest. I think it does pique your interest on the same level as The Lost Hero, so I'm going to put that also in Generally Like as well. House of Hades, I think this is another Generally Like. It does fit into the pattern of like the blank of the blank, which is quite common, much like Mark of Athena, I suppose. And it doesn't feel much more than that. It obviously describes the overworld side of the quest and the location they are trying to get to. But I think there's kind of enough excitement around this book anyway from the previous cliffhanger in the Mark of Athena. I think the title doesn't necessarily live up to that cliffhanger per se. Although the book is really, really good. The Blood of Olympus, the final book in the Heroes of Olympus series. I know there are some mixed opinions around this book as a whole, but from a title perspective, I think it goes in tier 2. I think it's better than the other four. Maybe it's an element of the gods not bleeding like humans. When seeing the title, it kind of makes me think of them rather than it being Percy and Annabeth's blood. And yet, despite my initial thoughts, it still links well to one of the final phases of the book. So that is the entire of the Heroes of Olympus series. They kind of edge around the middle part. If we now move on to the Magnus Chase series, I'm not going to lie, I don't think these are that great on the whole. They predominantly fit into the blank of the blank idea. The Sword of Summer. This is probably the best of the three. And I'm gonna put it in Generally Like. I think this is the best one. But it just doesn't really excite me that much. It could probably be and could be better. The Hammer of Thor just feels a bit generic in my opinion. Relates to the book well. And is more interesting than some of the others on this list. So I think tier 4 could be better. I can't think of a better title, but tier 4 it is. Joining the Hammer of Thor in tier 4 is the Ship of the Dead. Again, there's just not enough to it. Maybe dead in the title should intrigue me more than it does, but it just doesn't feel that exciting to me. We then move forward to the first series of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, obviously starting off with The Lightning Thief. This is a very good title, purely because I don't think it really computes in your head as to how that could work, hence piquing your interest. Relates to the book well, not generic. I think this is a top tier, deserves to be on Olympus. Sea of Monsters. I'm not sure what it is about this title, but I found it the hardest to place. As it relates well to the book, I can't really think of a better title, but I'm just not enthused by it. I'm going to put it in Could Be Better. If you have any ideas of what you think this book could be called, that would make it a better title. I'm all for it. I don't know, I just don't find anything particularly interesting by the Sea of Monsters. The Titan's Curse relates to the book well, but in a slightly more obscure way than usual, with it being Atlas's curse. So I think it probably fits in alongside Blood of Olympus and Amazing. I really like. I mean, the book's really good. Not that should be swaying it in this ranking, but I think overall, I think it's a really good title. Battle of the Labyrinth, fitting back into the mould of the blank, but maybe the younger version of myself would be going, well, a battle, that does sound good. Relates well to the book, but I'm going to put it in tier 3. I don't think it beats the Titan's Curse or Blood of Olympus, or it doesn't beat any of these guys, for example. The Last Olympian sounds incredibly final, which is what it is within its own series. A lot of intrigue added to it, strong links to the book. I think this is our second top tier in Deserves to Be on Olympus. I mean, that's a pretty strong showing from the original Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. Only one in Could Be Better and 2 top tiers, the only 2 in the top tiers currently. We then move on to the Kane Chronicles. Huge fans of these books, but let's see how their titles stand up. The Red Pyramid. Whilst this title does share half of its name with this YouTube channel name, I'm not a huge fan. It doesn't really intrigue me. I don't think it's not interesting. Yeah, it just doesn't seem particularly interesting. Of course, it does relate well to the book, but without knowing exactly what's the point of the Red Pyramid, I don't think it does much for you. So I'm going to put this going to be the first one in no thanks. Throne of Fire, better title, I think, compared to the Red Pyramid, as it kind of makes me think, well, how does a Throne of Fire work? And then obviously that is shown in the book. I don't think it's the best out there, but I think generally like is probably where this one should be. It fits in the middle tier. The Serpent Shadow. I really like this one. It sounds cool, relates to the book very well while still having that kind of mystique to the name where you were questioning it. I reckon it's that good. I reckon the Serpent Shadow is that good it's going to go in top tier. Maybe with a little bit of my Kane Chronicles bias floating it from amazing to top tier, but I think top tier is where Serpent Shadow deserves to be. Final series then, The Trials of Apollo. The Hidden Oracle is the first book in this series, and I think this is pretty generic, doesn't get me particularly excited. I think this is our second book in no thanks. I don't know, it just doesn't sound particularly great to me. The Dark Prophecy, better than The Hidden Oracle, but still overall pretty generic sounding. It doesn't feel that inventive, so I'm going to put it in Could Be Better, as I think it's better than The Hidden Oracle. The Burning Maze, after stating my kind of dislike for the first 2, I like The Burning Maze. Sounds like a pretty dangerous book, and I think it can go straight into amazing. Obviously, we do know how truly dangerous The Burning Maze is. The Tyrant's Tomb sounds cool all in all. I don't know why, but I think it's a really good title. Who is the tyrant and the tomb that it's referring to? So I think this one also goes in amazing. So Trials of Apollo, pretty poor start with the first 2, but the 3rd and 4th have ended up in tier 2. Unfortunately, it finishes with the Tower of Nero. It's just kind of describing where one of the showdowns take place. There isn't a huge amount of intrigue there. I'm going to put it in Could Be Better. It could quite easily be in no thanks, but Could Be Better is probably where it deserves to be. Right, so that is the completed tier list for ranking all the book titles names. Let me know which 3 books have your favourite titles. As you can see in mine are the Lightning Thief, The Last Olympian and The Serpent Shadow. I also just wanted to say, because I keep forgetting to mention it at the end of the last 3 or 4 videos, but I just want to say thank you for 100 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed or watched the videos. It is genuinely appreciated. This brings to an end our 12 videos of Christmas series, but I've enjoyed making these videos throughout December. It's been a good time. But thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.